welcome back to the channel. And today I have a guest on. Zach, how are we doing, dude?
Man, it has been years. I think quite literally. What's up, Nintendo Talk? What's up, everybody?
Yeah, today we are just days away at the time of this recording for the Switch 2 Direct, and we wanted to get our last minute Direct predictions. You guys might have questions. Hopefully we have answers. And Zach, we're gonna be realistic, right? We'll end maybe with a pie in the sky thing, but this is realistic.
Yeah, we're not going the 10 franchises from Nintendo: Animal Crossing, Smash Brothers, Mario, Zelda, Luigi's. We got to be at least a little grounded while still floating high. Because 4 days, I feel like it was 40 days, just like a week ago.
Yeah,
it's flown by.
It's flown by. I guess let's start like this, man, because there's two camps right now. There's one camp that's this is going to be reserved. Nintendo's going to use half of the Direct to show off the console, maybe a few games, and really focus on the launch day and launch period. Then there's the other camp where people are Nintendo's going to come out swinging. They're going to show Zelda, Mario, Splatoon, everything. What side are you on? And what side realistically do you think we can expect from this?
I mean, I would say there's almost a third side, which is they're gonna have 30 games side. I'm on the come out swinging side though. I think Nintendo has been saving up so much juice and energy for this. If you look at their last 18 months, they've done virtually nothing, and it all kind of leads to this moment. I think that yes, Nintendo is crazy. Yes, Nintendo does disappoint, but this is a time where they're basically leveraging this as kind of their E3, right? If the system's to launch in May, they can't have another Direct, oh gosh, right, one day before. So May, June launch, we're going to get everything that they've got right now. And I think they know that transition is so important. They've echoed that many times. They're not going to get up there and say, the magnets and the Joy-Con are S-tier magnet. They will talk about that, but that's not going to be the emphasis. Yeah. Otherwise, why are you going to spend $400?
Mm-hmm. And honestly, there's not really a lot to talk about, right? It's just a better Switch. There is the mouse functionality that hasn't been confirmed yet, but I mean, we can all kind of assume that's going to happen. And the C button, which it's now in renders. So people are seeing the C button. So I don't know, let's just say the Direct is 40 minutes long. How much of that 40 minutes are they spending just on the hardware part? The new Pro controller, the Switch.
Yeah, I think 10 minutes. But see, here's the thing. I think even if there's 10 to 15 minutes of hardware, I still think they can go crazy with 25, 35 minutes of games. If you look at the Switch 1 presentation, they spent the first 10-ish minutes there, shaking the Joy-Con so you could hear the ice cubes and doing all that stuff. And then they did go into game after game after game. And it wasn't 20 games, but they did have 6 heavy hitters that really set the course for year one. And I would expect something similar, except I do think this time there's going to be a much bigger emphasis on the third-party side. I think last time it was we're so proud to announce that these companies are going to work with us in the future. And I think this time it'll be, we're so pumped to announce that these games are coming out day one or, launch window, year one. But I don't think there's any chance. And I'll put my whole name on. There's no chance that this presentation is 30 minutes of hardware and the games are to come later, especially because it's launching so soon. If this was to launch in the holiday, then yeah, I'd give some more credit there. But this thing is out in two to 2.5 months. Yep. The marketing needs to go now.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, and I think we're both on the same page. Nothing too crazy in terms of surprises with the hardware. We're probably looking at 1080, hopefully 60. Are we thinking 4K actually? Wait a second.
4K docked. 4K docked. I think for sure.
4K docked. Okay.
I think for sure. Yeah. I mean, not handheld. The craziest thing I think is the leak or the rumor that just got kind of put out there about the Switch 1 connecting to the Switch 2 as a controller, like a gamepad controller. That would be crazy to me.
That.
But you hate that?
I actually hate the whole rumor of 2 screens and everything. I think we should keep it simple. I think the mouse alone is huge. I think it's bigger than people are thinking. You open up a possibility of all these PC ports coming over and first-person shooters. Switch would be the console to play them on. Everyone prefers mouse controls. 2 screens, dude. Now we're going to be selling screens for $100, right?
But let me sell you on this point of it. The
Okay.
virtual game cards is all about sharing your library with somebody else. What if the Switch One can just be my like buddy pass? Like, what if the Switch One is just, hey, I got Mario Kart 8. We both want to play Mario Kart 8 portably. I can hand you my Switch One and beam you,
Oh
the
yeah.
split screen version of this. So I think I agree with you. I think two screen gaming is like we've been there, done that. It wasn't
Yeah.
all it was cracked up to be, but I really wonder if Nintendo is going to try and lean into this multiplayer thing. Like if whether C is for chat, connect, create, like it's something multiplayer. And so I think that they might try and really make the switch to the best multiplayer system out there, the easiest, which
Yep.
would be such a flip from friend codes to now making it multiplayer focused. But I feel like that virtual game card thing is maybe a glimpse into how they're thinking about this, how they're wanting it to be more of a, hey, you really enjoy the Switch family of systems with your friends.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, I'm thinking the C button is like something social. Press it, your friend, like you have a whole social tab that pops up, friends list, messages, invites, things like that. I think that's
Yeah.
the best way. I don't know. I love Nintendo's gimmicks, don't get me wrong, but this is a gimmick. The docking, and that's our gimmick, Nintendo.
But a new gimmick. The mouse, I think, is the gimmick, right? Like the
Yeah.
mouse function, like that's pretty gimmicky,
Yeah.
but good. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So that's kind of where you're at now. I think we should talk software. Like we've seen Mario Kart, which by the way, what did you think about our first glimpse with the newest Mario Kart?
I mean, my whole thought process just centered around DK. That was the trailer for me. Was what has happened to my boy. But I think it's very hard to judge. I know people are really hard on Nintendo graphics. I saw people saying, "Oh, Metroid Prime 4 Beyond looks terrible," yada yada. I think you need to wait to see it, and Nintendo usually does a pretty good job with their games, even on the Switch One, looking great. Like I think Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is a very good-looking game.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's not the most fidelity, but it looks good. So I wasn't blown away. I was just interested in DK and the wide track. 24 players seems to be the common thought there.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. Like when I first saw the newest Mario Kart, I was like, okay. Like I don't know if it was like the level selection, because they also showed like a very dusty, deserty level, and it wasn't great. But I do like the idea of all of the characters kind of becoming like newer versions. It just feels very new, sort of like a Mario Wonder thing, where it's like, okay, this is our new Mario, this is our new Mario Kart. It does feel new. Thoughts on like this is going to be a launch game, right? A lot of people saying this might be pushed. Yeah, okay.
No, I think Mario Kart has to be their major, like that is their reason why you upgrade. It's the biggest selling software on Switch One. It's what a lot of people still play on Switch One. It's why you get it day one. And I think that, Mario Kart 9, as it'll probably be called, is their Breath of the Wild. That is the game that makes you super excited, get the new system. It's going to be, I'm hoping, new. I think it's just interesting because Nintendo doesn't typically do the sizzle reel in the same way that other companies do. Like, even yesterday's or this week's Metroid Prime 4 trailer, they like have this narration like, Samus can scan a rock, and there's like 24 straight seconds of her scanning. Like, it's not like a typical game where it's like, wham, bam, let's show you all the greatest parts. So, to me, it was par for the course that Mario Kart looked mundane. I think it'll look a lot better, though, when we see it on Wednesday.
Yeah, I'm hoping to see characters, courses, the gimmick, which is looking like that little orange item box thing.
Yeah, maybe fuel.
Yeah, fueling up.
Power your cart. What franchise do you think gets introduced to Mario Kart? We've had Splatoon in there. We've had Animal Crossing. Think somebody else joins the party?
I think it has to make sense. Like, yeah, we do have Link, but that's like an exception. I don't think we're gonna get Fire Emblem characters or anything like that. I think like Kirby. Yeah, Kirby.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah,
That's
Kirby. Maybe more Animal Crossing. Maybe we see like Tom Nook, because I feel like those like Animal Crossing is a much bigger thing now. You got to think like those characters that were added were kind of like in the Wii U generation. Animal Crossing,
right?
Was popular, but it wasn't like it is now. So yeah, maybe some more Splatoon stuff.
Yeah, because Splatoon was like a baby franchise when Deluxe first came out, 8 Deluxe. So I think you get Marina or Pearl or somebody like that.
You think they're gonna extend the roster more?
I think so.
Yeah, Samus, dude. It'd be so funny.
I mean, to me, what is the reason that you wouldn't just copy the Smash Bros. Style? Like, what is limiting about Mario Kart that isn't limiting about Smash. I mean, I don't know if they're gonna have third party. We're gonna have Snake, and
Yeah,
that's a little much. But to me, the big question is like, do Pokemon appear? Is there
ooh,
Mewtwo and Pikachu in a
ooh,
cart, or
Pikachu
is
and
that
Eevee.
too? Yeah, is that too much? I don't know.
I would like that. I mean, and that's the thing. I don't think even the biggest Mario Kart fans, what characters would you be replacing? The baby versions? Isn't there like 7 versions of Mario? Like,
Yeah,
we can get rid of some of the characters.
yeah.
What are you hoping to see with Mario Kart? Like, obviously it's different. The characters are changing, but is there anything that you're like hoping to see? Crazy levels, stuff like that?
I would love to see some incentive for me to build a profile. I mean, this I guess teeters dangerously towards like a battle pass, which I'm not saying I want, but some way to track my a better like leveling up progression system, more unlocks, more just basically more modes, more ways to play besides, hey, you can play online, you can play battle mode, you can play multiplayer. And I know they've experimented with different types of modes, throwing the bombs, things like that. But I guess I mean more of like, let's bring this together and let's bring it to, I would say, a modern era where this game is fleshed out, where there is like a full suite of, hey, you're building a profile on your online account, you're leveling up, you're increasing your unlocks more along the lines of what they did with the coins, but just, I guess, bigger, better. I don't think it needs a campaign. I've seen a lot of people say like, oh, a single player campaign, like Diddy Kong Racing campaign. Like, I don't know. I don't know what you would do with a kart racing campaign. A storyline is going to have a subspace emissary, the evil gasoline monster.
I feel like it does need something though. The story mode, whatever. I guess the 24 player like mode is that maybe like that's
Mass chaos mode.
Yeah, I'm kind of hoping that's like an online only thing, or like a special little mode that you can do. Because I do feel like there is kind of a delicate balance with Mario Kart. Like, it's already crazy, and then imagine like all those bananas and shells going. Like it's
16 red shells being fired at once. Yeah.
Yeah, like, come on. Okay, so I actually think that's going to be launched too.
Yep.
What else are we thinking though? I mean, there's nothing really that we know of except we just had the direct with Metroid, and I mentioned before we started recording there was no release date for Metroid. It still said 2025. Do we see it at launch?
That makes me think we do.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that makes me think. Then in that case, I guess that game sort of serves as the Breath of the Wild. Release it on Switch 1 and on Switch 2. You can get it wherever you want, kind of like Breath of the Wild with Wii U. And that's, to me, a really great duo. That brings in kind of everybody, Metroid Prime and Mario Kart. A lot of people want to get them both, but there's a lot of people that might only get Mario Kart. And maybe they also view that as a way to boost Metroid sales by making it a launch title.
Yep.
Metroid, very popular fan-wise, but maybe not the biggest seller. I question why hide the date unless it's very important. Mm-hmm. And to me, very important means launch day, launch window.
And it looks very much done. It's done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're ready to go with that. I think to me that's a super hot launch lineup. If you have Mario Kart 9 and Metroid Prime 4, that's about as good as it gets.
Yeah.
Compared to, like, think about last time, Breath of the Wild, great. But then we had Mario Kart wasn't even launch day. It was 1-2 Switch.
1-2 Switch,
this
Bomberman. Dude, the launch sucked for Switch.
Snipper Clips was okay.
Yeah. Yeah, Snipper Clips too. And I was going to ask about that. Do you think we see another sort of budget, casual type thing? I mean, we got 1-2 Switch, Wii U, we had Nintendo Land, Wii Sports with the Wii. Do they continue that casual trend? I kind of think they need to, especially if they're doing the mouse thing.
Yeah, I think like some 2-2 Switch mouse, functionality minigame compilation makes sense. The only thing I've been thinking the last couple of days, because before I was high on this train of like, there's going to be a casual game, there's going to be some 1-2 Switch equivalent, is do they feel that audience is just auto buying Mario Kart? Whereas last time, you're casual, you're a younger player, maybe you're not ready for Breath of the Wild, you're probably buying 1-2 Switch. Is there room for that right out the gate? But I fully expect some quirky Nintendo title, whether it's super casual or medium casual. I think they always do that. I feel like they always will leverage we got arms in the opening presentation last time. So legs, we're ready for you. Or some Mario Paint,
That's what I was thinking.
I don't.
Little
Yeah.
Mario Paint, Mario Workshop. That's what I've been selling to
Yeah.
people.
Okay. All right. I like that.
Yeah, like just a collection of mini games, kind of like WarioWare-ish, where it's just like a bunch of mouse mini. I actually think that'd be super fun. Like I was not on board with 1-2 Switch. I thought it looked funny.
Yeah, it definitely looks funny.
Yeah,
and people look funny playing it.
Yeah, so I think that's good because then you get your Metroid, your first or your single player title graphically. I mean, Metroid Prime Remastered looks great. I'm actually like replaying that now, and it's like
it's very good.
Yeah, I mean that looks great. That's probably the best looking Switch game. So, seeing the Metroid Prime 4 trailer that they showed the other day, you can definitely tell it's a Switch 1 game. But I'm definitely thinking enhancements for Switch 2 and stuff. And we'll kind of go there. What do you expect? Okay, when you have a Switch 1 game and you put it into your Switch 2. What do you think realistically the differences will be? If any.
I hope it's free. That's all I hope.
Oh.
I don't want them to charge me a thing for it because to me that becomes so crazy. Okay, they're telling me that it's backwards compatible. I can put Mario Wonder or Tears of the Kingdom into my Switch 2, but then what? It's going to prompt me like pay $10 if you want to play it even better. Like that feels really, really dicey to me. But I do think they're going to have some upgrades. I don't think... Well, let me say this. I think every game can be improved, but I don't think every game is going to have like a dedicated patch. Like I think they might do, hey, here's our Switch 2 patch for Breath of the Wild. But I don't think every Switch game is going to come like, whoa, it's crazy. Like I think, yes, hopefully Pokemon Scarlet and Violet doesn't run at, 4 frames per second when you're looking at the windmills. But I don't think that's going to be like a developer-specific patch.
Yeah.
I don't know. It made me nervous when they say Nintendo Switch 2 editions of games like on their website, because then it's like, oh, well, are we going to be paying for these? Because what's a Switch 2 edition?
Yeah. I kind of think it's going to be a slow rollout, honestly. Like here's 10 Switch titles that are now enhanced, and it's kind of going to be like NSO, where you have to wait for the rollouts, and maybe that could be a way for them to like fill direct.
Yeah.
I don't really like that because I think at the very minimum, like load time should be reduced, performance and stuff like that. Like Xbox does a fantastic job with that, like backwards compatibility. Xbox 360 games like are new games on the Series X. So yeah. I'm kind of wondering how deep they go into that. Like I definitely think they should. I mean, Switch is great. I mean, everyone freaking bought the Switch. So like, yeah, you're going to have those casual fans too. Like, oh, I have Animal Crossing. Can I play it on Switch 2? And if they do that rollout thing, I think that's going to take a lot of the wind out of the sails there. But
yeah, I also think it's weird because we're kind of past that moment for Xbox and PlayStation. So even though they did it before with like a $10 charge to get the PS5 version of the game, Nintendo would be the only company doing it right now. And that's sort of a backwards marketing point for them of like, okay, now Xbox and PlayStation can say like, you don't have to pay extra to make your games look better. They all look awesome. And Nintendo's like, oh, we're charging you for these old, like, I don't know what that Switch 2 editions thing means, but I really hope and believe that Nintendo will do right and say like, it's backwards compatible. If we have a new patch, it just looks better. But there's that part of me that thinks, hey, they want you to buy Metroid Prime 4 twice. I just don't know how that works if it is truly backwards compatible. Like, like I was saying, you put the game in and it tells you, do you want to play this sucky or do you want to play it sweet? Like what do you do with that?
Yeah, that's true. Because if you're going to the store and you're buying the Switch 2 version of Metroid Prime 4 for like what, 70, and I'm buying the Switch version for 60, like there has to be a difference. Like and they did something similar with like Wii U. You could play Wii games on Wii U, and there really wasn't too much of a difference. It played, but I think it was a little bit better. It didn't upscale it, but it looked a little bit better. I kind of think that's what they do. And then the rollout system, the Switch 2 versions are like Nintendo is putting in work to like enhance them a little bit. So I actually...
Yeah, because...
Oh, yeah, go.
I was going to say, I think the best case scenario is maybe they re-release bundled packages for brand new Switch 2 owners. So there's a Switch 2 edition of Breath of the Wild that comes with all the DLC. But if you already have Breath of the Wild, like, you're fine. You're going to get the update. You're going to get the upgrades. You're good. But, like, this is a way for them, kind of like you were saying, fill some gaps and they can resell, here's the complete, Tears of the Kingdom. Well, there was no DLC, but you know what I'm saying? Like the complete bundle of this game, but re-released kind of in a Switch 2 packaging so that they can fill gaps with games like that they've already had.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, during the first reveal, the reveal trailer for Switch 2, they were kind of comparing. They literally put a Switch 1 on the screen and then it grew and stuff. Yeah. I've been saying that I think they continue that trend, and I would not be surprised if we see a Switch 1 game, as crazy as that sounds, in this. Like, I personally, as a consumer, want to see a Switch 1 game running on Switch 2. So I think they do mention it and they do address it. And I think a lot of people are wondering, because they've already mentioned it a couple times on their socials. And then in that trailer itself, there was a screen that popped up about backwards compatibility. So I'm fully looking to see that.
I think Prime 4 is that bridge game. I think that's the reason it popped up at the Switch 1 Direct. It pops up again, and they can, directly say whatever. Oh, it's going to run at a higher frame rate. It's going to run at a better resolution. Whatever they want to say. They need some game to show Switch 1 owners why upgrade to Switch 2. Obviously, yes, get exclusive Mario Kart, get exclusive Mario, but I think they do need to make some pitch to show why this system is better. What, besides just the specs, like what makes it better, and a direct comparison, like you said, is a great way to do that.
All right, you said 10 minutes for the console and a 40-minute thing, so let's talk more games. And I want to ask, because I know people are watching, they want to hear about this. Zach, will we see Animal Crossing this year?
No.
Damn, what the heck?
I'm sorry. I feel like part of Animal Crossing's huge success, outside of it being adorable and awesome, is that the Switch install base was so built up. And I think they will want to wait. I mean, to me, it would be very silly to have this be a cross-gen title. Like, this is a great game to get people to upgrade to Switch 2. But as we saw with Switch 1, like, Nintendo really spread these games out. They had their 3D Mario, and then there was not another 3D Mario. They had their Smash Brothers, not another Smash Brothers. They have to keep some franchises for years 3 and years 4 and years 5. And I know it's been 5 years since Animal Crossing, but as far as I'm aware, Animal Crossing still like sells okay. Like people still buy that game. It's still, so I don't think they're in a rush. I feel like that's a game you release when there's already 20, 30, 40 million players.
Or maybe a tease at the end of the year. Something to get people excited, like longer term about Switch 2. So what are we thinking then? We got Metroid, we got Mario Kart.
I think the one that nobody's talking about is DK. I think that the DK section of Super Nintendo World opening up in, I believe, mid-May. I think, the changing art style of DK in Mario Kart. I think the prepping the waters with the mediocre port of Donkey Kong Country Returns at the beginning of the year. I think that's all laying the groundwork for DK. I think DK would be a great one to show up here that people aren't expecting. It would be surprising. It would be fun. And it wouldn't blow a major franchise. Like, it wouldn't blow Smash Brothers, Splatoon, Animal Crossing. I think DK has a good chance of showing up because he's been MIA, yet we know Nintendo very much is promoting that character.
In that new Mario Kart art style. The movie
he's got to have a game where he's looking goofy. He's got to get the eyebrows going in a brand new game.
Yeah, I was trying to think of games, and I actually did. I do think that Splatoon 4 is a lot closer than we think. I think it is very close to Splatoon 3. Like, I think that it's a very short turnover, but I think you're talking new console, and you need those multiplayer games. Mario Kart's going to be that for a little bit, but we even saw on Switch. We had Mario Kart and Splatoon come out like months apart. So I don't think it's that crazy. Let me ask you this, because like they want people to switch over to Switch 2. Does Nintendo pull like a Metroid Prime 4 and announce, like, do they have title cards? Games that aren't even close?
I would hate that. I feel like it bit them in the butt because then they had to make the apology for Metroid Prime 4, midway through. Let me ask you this. Do you think that Splatoon 4 is a way bigger deal now than Splatoon 2 was then?
No.
No.
I don't think it is. I mean, I think Splatoon as a brand is bigger now. but I don't know if it has like necessarily the as big of an impact. I
Oh,
think
okay.
as a multiplayer game, there's levels. I think you got Mario Kart, you got Smash, and then yeah, you got Splatoon. I think it's third. Like what else do they
Okay.
have really, you know? So I think it's a big
Yeah.
deal, just not as big as it was.
Do you think a Mario sports title could service sort of that multiplayer part two?
I don't know. I kind of thought we were gonna see that in this past direct. Like
Yeah.
I thought we were gonna see that. It seems more like a
Baseball or
filler
something?
game. You
Yeah.
know, something that would be
Maybe they'll have a brand new multiplayer title. I mean,
yeah.
they tried ARMS. I think they kind of thought that would be, another solid multiplayer game. I'm trying to even think what genre they could go with. I mean, could you see them releasing I know we got Legends ZA out there, but like a Pokken Tournament 2?
I think that'd be cool. My mind immediately went to, well, what are they doing with that whole playtest thing? Because they did have the playtest, and that seemed to like just have a multiplayer focus. The game itself didn't look the best.
It's a little goofy.
Yeah, and maybe they were, testing something bigger. But I definitely think multiplayer should be a bigger focus. That's why I say Splatoon 4, because you have your Mario Kart, you have that. We haven't talked NSO yet. Do you think they add a tier? Do you think they have to be mentioning it?
They have to be mentioning it.
Yeah.
I don't know if they add a tier, but they definitely add to that bigger tier. I think they definitely are going to add to the expansion pack tier. The Mario Kart edition was great. Haven't really got much value since then. I know they added Game Boy and Game Boy Advance. It's time to add GameCube. We've seen the controller leak. I think that is a great way to jumpstart the sales of the system and make it exclusive to Switch 2. The only way you get GameCube games is on the Switch 2. And I've seen more and more talk around like, hey, all those ports that we were waiting for are just going to be moved to GameCube NSO. Prime 2 and 3, or well, Prime 2, Wind Waker, those kind of games are just going to all be put to Switch 2. And maybe they can leverage that as some of their multiplayer stuff as well. Hey, we're going to release Smash Bros. Melee on GameCube this October. And maybe that gets people
huge.
with online functionality, that gets people excited.
Yeah, I think Melee Online is a bigger deal than Splatoon. That would.
Ooh.
I mean, people still play it competitively.
And that's part of why I think Splatoon 4 doesn't pop here, is because I wonder if they need to take some time to kind of evolve and rework that. Like, I feel like 3 and 2 are so close together. It's a new city or whatever, but they're very, very similar. They reuse a lot of the same mechanics, same maps. I feel like maybe Nintendo needs to kind of go back to the drawing board and reinvent a little bit of Splatoon 4, so it does have more impact. Because like you're saying, if it came out now, maybe it wouldn't be as big of a hit. I feel like the biggest thing I want out of this, obviously, Mario Kart and 3D Mario, but I would love to see a new thing. The last few times Nintendo has done new things, they've been up and down, but I want them to keep trying. I want them to keep innovating with new IP, and it feels like they use new consoles as a time to do that. Nintendo Land was really fun. ARMS, I think, was really fun for a while. Splatoon obviously turned into they got the inkling on their banner at Nintendo Tokyo. Like, that became a big deal. So maybe why we can't think of what they would put here is because it's something that we don't know. It's a brand new innovation from Nintendo, and I'd love to see them capitalize on a new system with a new IP.
Yeah, it's sort of like this new console needs like a new identity, and they seem to be doing that, with the character redesign in Mario Kart. But yeah, there needs to be not necessarily a mascot character, but like a new attraction, because people will get Mario Kart no matter what. But it's like, what's after that? And I have been sort of in the camp where I think Nintendo's going to be a little bit more reserved and like focus on the system and maybe announce an upcoming direct to like go into more games.
Okay.
But yeah, if you think about like games that they could put in this direct, they definitely need to wow people. I feel like they need to bring out the heavy hitters. I don't think we're going to see a huge Zelda, but like a 3D Mario, like you were saying, that's like definitely
possible. That to me is like the game changer, right? That's the one that I think it's USA Today and CNN and even the IGNs and Kotaku's very involved. I mean, they're going to be involved regardless, but that's like your wow moment. That was the wow moment, I think, before people knew Breath of the Wild was going to be great. Like, Mario Odyssey was like, oh my gosh. And the fact that we haven't had one in 8 years, that's a big deal. That's going to be a huge point. Mario has a movie. Mario has a theme park. At the end of the day, this is still Mario's system, and so I think that 3D Mario, when you're talking about them being more reserved, I could see a world where their reservation, their being more reserved, is, hey, we're going to show you Mario Kart, Metroid, and 3D Mario. I don't think that's what anyone wants to hear, but like, if Mario is as big as people are expecting, they could say like, hey, we're going to show you the 3 huge games that define the beginning of this, and then we'll go into more games, like you said, like a later presentation. But also remember, it's the 40th anniversary of Mario.
Yeah.
There's no way we get out of this without at least 2 Mario games.
Yeah. Yeah, because, I could see them showing a bunch of games or really going in with the ones that they have. Like, could we see 10 minutes of Mario Kart? I don't know if people want to necessarily see that, but maybe they have enough to warrant that. New characters, that new gimmick, the fuel gimmick or whatever, casual title, maybe a little bit more on Metroid, because I feel like they did start showing that new puzzle sort of mechanic and stuff.
Yeah, the psychic abilities.
Yeah, but they didn't really show anything. There's no multiplayer confirmed yet, but I think that could be a huge deal. I've been campaigning for multiplayer Metroid because I feel like it could be your Halo. I think it could be huge, especially at launch.
Yeah, it could be a very great compliment, and that would solve the multiplayer hole that we're talking about. Yeah, I mean, I think another part of this that can't be overlooked is, as Nintendo progressed through this generation, third parties became more and more important. They're really close to Microsoft. They're putting IP on the system that nobody would have thought would be on a Nintendo system 10 years ago. I feel like, let's say, if this is you really think 40 minutes? I feel like this is gonna be a 60-minute presentation. They just gave us 36 minutes of Nintendo One.
I don't know where they at. The more it gets, the closer and closer it gets, my expectations are going up and up, because Nintendo is literally making their own countdowns. So I could see a world where it's an hour. Sit down an hour with Miyamoto. Let's talk. Yeah. But
because I'm saying, I feel like there's at least 15 minutes that it's going to be like Doom: The Dark Ages, Elden Ring. I think Nintendo is going to milk that for what it's worth. Red Dead Redemption 2 is on Switch 2, or Cyberpunk is on. If they are able to get those games that we've heard heavily rumored, I think Elden Ring on Switch 2 is a segment. I don't think that's here's some Nintendo Switch highlight. I think that's I think that's I think that's a segment. I mean, if the rumors are true and they're if Halo Master Chief Collection is something they reveal here, that is a segment. That is we're going to bring out Phil Spencer to talk about how, Halo and Nintendo merging is the greatest partnership in, in video game history. So, I mean, I don't really believe it is, but that's what he'll say. Anything's an Xbox, even your Switch 2.
Yeah.
I think there is going to be a substantial portion of this that isn't just throw up the logos. I think Monster Hunter Wilds could get its own segment with a Palico skin that's, makes your cat look like Link, or, whatever. I think that is going to be something that we can't underestimate. And whatever they show from Nintendo has to be fit in to a presentation that involves hardware and significant third-party presence.
Yeah, I was gonna ask about third-party, but I mean, honestly, anything could happen. I mean, the system should be capable enough where we could play just about anything. Third party's gonna be crawling to this thing. I really hope that we get a third-party game where it's oh damn, this is a new game, or a game not even out yet that is on some of the other systems. And even titles that Nintendo fans might not think is great, but a Madden or a college football or something. These are huge third-party games that are modern, they're new. Showing Skyrim at the Switch event, I think was sort of a big deal, but that game had already been super old. I feel like you need a Doom Dark Ages or something like that.
What about that Oblivion remake rumor? You think Nintendo pairs up with Elder Scrolls again and says hey, we're going to reveal this brand new Unreal Engine 5 Elder Scrolls Oblivion remake, and it's coming day one on Nintendo Switch 2?
I think it's a smart choice. Nintendo fans would eat it up. I feel like not Splatoon, Skyrim sold pretty well, right?
It did.
Yeah. So yeah, I think that'd be a natural fit. Yeah, you got to see your Elden Rings, things like
Come
that.
Come here. We have a very needy cat. He always has to be invited to the
special guest here.
Special guest. It's Bowser. The people. There he is. What about a Bowser game? We have a Luigi game. We have a Peach game now.
I would love that.
A Bowser game? Another one that I do want to mention briefly is Luigi's Mansion 4.
Mm.
I feel like that's, I don't know if that's a this direct game or a next direct game, but I feel like that came out 5 years ago,
Yeah, it's been a while.
6 years ago. I don't. It's been a long
Yeah.
time.
You did
So
launch the GameCube with it, you know?
yeah. So I think that was a graphical showpiece, and that's another thing I kind of think about is like, okay, they probably want games that are gonna look snazzy. Because if we're honest, it's hard to show. Like, I'm curious how they try to establish the difference between Switch 1 and Switch 2. Because on YouTube, like, or Twitch, like, whatever you're watching this on,
Yeah.
Squint, does it look better? I can't really tell. Would Call of Duty make you turn your head?
I think it would, just because we haven't seen it. I mean, it skipped the Switch generation, and we already know about what the 10-year contract or something.
Right.
Yeah, that would honestly, yeah, like any modern third-party game would make me do a double take, because at this point, as a Nintendo fan, it's really hard to hear all these reports like, yeah, this will be a modern system. You can play any game on. I'm just kind of like, yeah, sure, until I see it, you know?
Yeah.
So I'm really hoping for stuff like that, for sure.
I think, honestly, that is... I mean, obviously, I'm most excited for Mario and Mario Kart and whatever Nintendo has, but honestly, one of my big... Like, I will breathe a sigh of relief if we do, like you said, see Assassin's Creed Shadows, and we see Doom the Dark Ages, and we see Monster Hunter Wilds. It's like, okay, just finally confirm that, like, yes, it really is going to play all these things. Because I do think there's a part of us that is excited about that, but is still worried, like, remember Madden All Play on the Wii? Like, are we going to get these, like, dumbed-down, stupid versions, or are we truly going to have Far Cry and Assassin's Creed and Call of Duty and Madden? Because when that happens and when that's confirmed... This is the best system to buy, right? Like, hands down, this is the system you buy. And I think you're right. I think if they're able to get something, and maybe it is that Oblivion game, but something that's new, and it's like, oh yeah, this is on PS5, Xbox Series X, but it's on Switch 2, like, and it's being announced at Switch 2. We're used to being the also ran, the afterthought. You know, we get Batman 20 years later. We get these games so many years later, but we're gonna announce a new Elder Scrolls remake on the Switch 2? Oh, it's also on PS5, don't worry. Like, that's... Like, let's flip those logos around. Let's put the Switch 2 logo first instead of always at the back of the line.
Yeah. Because it's one thing to, like, get third parties. That's great. But then, like, you're getting a third party that came out 2 years ago at the launch price. So there's no impact. Because games go way
silly.
down. Yeah.
Do you think $70 is the price for everything? Every game?
I think there are going to be some games that hit that mark. I don't know if it's going to be all of them. I think your Zeldas, Animal Crossing, maybe even Metroid, who knows. Do you think Nintendo would do that, though? That kind of, like, devalues... I
think every first-party game is going to be $70. And then I think there'll be some third parties that...
Hop
like,
on that. 2K or something.
Just Dance or something maybe tries to get in... I was going to say for, like, 60. But I think every Nintendo game is... I think the the Tears of the Kingdom 70... was like, alert, like when we make a new big game.
Yeah.
And I think Nintendo is very cautious about their value. I know you started to say it, like, they're not going to have, Mario Kart is 70, but then Mario Tennis is 60. I think people should expect that every first party game is going to be $70 for the system.
And they're really pushing for that digital, man. Like, I don't want to go too hard on the digital card, like, news that they came out with. But yeah, the vouchers, like, they're really pushing for the digital thing. Do we see at any point a digital only Switch 2?
At any point?
At any
point.
Like
in 3 years? Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I actually wouldn't mind that as, like, a secondary.
I guess I don't know the pricing. Like, eliminating the disc drive seems to be some substantial savings for Sony. Does eliminating a cartridge slot save you anywhere near that much? If not, then no. But if yeah, I mean, it's not just Nintendo pushing for it. Like, the numbers show people are going digital more and more as the years go by. So not at launch, but yeah, I mean, there could be a Switch 2 Lite that is digital only.
Yeah. I wanted to talk about pricing, because the people out there, start saving your money. There's actually a lot of there's a big range of people, like, saying, because I've heard some people that are like, yeah, this is gonna be $350, and other people are like, this is gonna be $450, $500. So I'm thinking 400 personally. I think 400 is a good sweet spot. I was thinking, maybe they have like a bundle where it's like the Switch and Mario Kart for 450. Maybe that, they do that sort of thing. Where are you at with pricing?
I feel like it's going to be 429. I think Nintendo's going to go with one of those weird prices. I think that gets them a little bit above 400, but it sounds way better than 450. And then I think they have a $500 Mario Kart bundle, whether it's right away or eventually, because now we got to think about, okay, if it's $70 for a game, I don't think they can do the $50 bump. Like, I feel like they're going to have to do like a $60 bump or a $70 bump. I think you're incredibly lucky if you get this thing at 400. I would be, I'm happy to be wrong, but in my opinion, 0% chance it is under 400 and 0% chance it's 500. I think it's got to be between, $399 and 450 feels like, as far as they'd go. But I kind of like this 429. Feel like that, I don't know, 429 doesn't sound like, it's like, okay, 30 extra bucks is not that big of a deal.
Yeah, and honestly, I feel like if the system does launch at 350, I'm kind of worried. I'm like, how did they get that price?
The OLED is 350.
Yeah, like what kind of tech are they using? I want this thing to be at least a little future proof. Like, give me some premiumness for this. So yeah, I'm at like 449 with a little bundle in there. Special editions later on. I'm excited.
Yeah, it comes loaded with a theme.
Yeah. Pre-order information. This is another one that people are kind of all over the place. Some people are saying it's going to be live after the Direct. Some people are saying a week later, a month later. Pre-orders.
I think a week later makes the most sense.
Yeah.
I was talking about it on my channel, just thinking like, okay, obviously the Direct is watched by a lot of people, but then they probably start their TV commercials, their online campaigns, and so give it a week to sort of spread, and then boom, have your pre-orders be massive. Because I think a lot of this is just like business and marketing of like, oh, we want to be able to say we had, we shut down Best Buy and Walmart.com and Target, and we had, 20 million 10 million pre-orders, whatever. So I think they got to give people a little bit of time. And I think then that also allows for these retailers to start advertising as well for them. Pre-orders begin, as opposed to like converted over. I know Walmart Canada did leak like, April 2nd, but I feel like just incorrect. It's just wrong.
Yeah, I feel like they want to be relevant still. They're just saying whatever.
Those Canadian companies, they I mean, when Walmart Canada tweets, it's like, okay, a Direct is coming. So maybe they do know something we don't know, but it does feel like the latest credible leaks are like the 9th seems to be more of when we're looking at.
Yeah, I'd be shocked if it was like, well, go pre-order the system. Like, yeah, they need a little bit of time. I've also heard people saying like, oh, NSO members will be able to pre-order first. Like, I don't think they're going to be that nice. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think it's just going to be like, everyone
fend for yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think so.
So we have that last thing. Release date. May, June, July, August, Santa.
May 15th was looking so great for so long, but it does seem like everyone's now moving towards June as more of the launch date. I would still love it to be May 15th. I think that gives you a solid, 6 weeks. The Switch 1 big reveal in New York was like January 7th, and then the system came out March 3rd, so that was like 7-8 weeks. But I guess I'll be cautious here and say, very early June. There's like, in my mind, anything past June is like WTF. Like, what are we doing here? Get this out.
Mm-hmm. Especially since the Switch 1 has nothing. Like, I was really hoping, to see some release dates, and then you get games like Rhythm Heaven, which is a rhythm game. I love it, but why do we need a year for that?
To me, that tells me that there's nothing coming out until the Switch 2. Mm-hmm. So if that's the case, how many months can they go without games? I mean, that they're going April, May, like it's got to be out June at the latest.
They'll keep talking about Donkey Kong Country Returns HD.
No.
I'm thinking either the 5th or the 12th of June. I think anything past that is insanity. Like, I can't see this thing releasing August or whatever.
No.
Pie in the sky prediction. Hashtag trust Switch Force.
Ugh.
The
Pie in the
pressure's on.
sky.
Surprise,
Oh,
maybe
man.
like a realistic surprise that they could throw in there.
Okay. I mean, how about a Metroid Prime 4 demo available now on Switch 1? Is that enough of a surprise, or you want more? You want more?
I kind of want something new,
You want
man.
something new? Okay. Let's see. Honestly, like, to me, the coolest thing they could do would be a crossover game of their own. We've seen them work with other, partners and the Rabbids, but some sort of Nintendo crossover. Can they build towards some, Marvel Cinematic Universe where they have these characters crossing over, and any sort of game, even if it was like a Nintendo Land 2, but where they had, Zelda and Mario kind of in the same game, or they had Splatoon and Kirby in the same game. Some Nintendo crossover
That'd be cool.
would be very, very cool.
Yeah. And for the people watching, I'm going to say AC. That's my pie in the sky, man. My pie in the sky. I mean, I think that's the biggest bomb you could drop besides like Smash.
Dude, like, they do things so backwards. No Direct in February and then Direct literally a week before. Maybe this is gonna be crazy. Maybe there's no 3D Mario. There's Animal Crossing, Smash Brothers, and Mario Kart, and it's just like, what on earth are they doing? But that's how they could operate. They As much as I don't think Animal Crossing will be there, I also would just smile and nod if it does show up, because they can be weird like that.
Mm-hmm. Well, there you go, guys. Thank you again, Zach, for joining us. And
Absolutely. It's going to be huge.
Yeah, just a few days. This video will be obsolete in just a few days. But thank you guys for watching. Check out Zach's channel. He's been doing Switch 2 stuff. And thank you again, dude.
Absolutely. Good luck. Get hyped. Don't even hype responsibly. Hype irresponsibly.
Yes.
And whatever comes, I think they'll deliver. At the end of the day, no matter what, I predict that this show is incredible.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, for sure. And if it's not, then we riot, okay? All right, everyone. Bye.